Very good morning from my side. As mentioned, my name is Raimund Hanauer. I'm the Director of Transport Planning for Qatar Rail. It's a pleasure to be here today at this Automated Electric Mobility Forum. I'd like to speak a little bit about the public transport and the autonomous vehicles and how this could work in conjunction. So that's why the subtitle is for this presentation is "It's a Shared Future." I think we all see that there is opportunities for both. I just see that I still need the clicker. It's coming. Thank you. Okay, just a few words about our networks. As you know, Qatar Rail is operating two public transport networks. One is the Doha Metro, which is basically the backbone of the public transport landscape here in Qatar. We also operate the Lusail Tram network in the developing city of Lusail. We just opened 2 new lines this month there, so the development of that network is following basically the development of the city, and there will be more lines to come as well. The Doha Metro is, as I said, the backbone of the public transport in Qatar. Currently we are carrying around 170,000 people every day, which is the lion's share of people that use public transport. I can't have a presentation about that without mentioning, of course, the World Cup. We heard it in the forum before as well. The biggest event so far in the country. Also, of course, the biggest event for our network. On the busiest day, we carried more than 850,000 people. During the World Cup, we carried 50% of the people that went to and from the stadiums. And we carried an endless number of people on their journeys throughout the city during this special 4 weeks. So during that time, I think we have proven that this network has enormous capabilities, and we're gonna draw on them in the future. When we talk about a metro system, it is the backbone, of course, but like with any backbone, without further systems that feed into that, it cannot serve its purpose. What I show you here, if you look at these 3 graphics, you see the green areas is basically the catchment areas, i.e. that's the area that people can walk to the public transport. And if we only look at the left picture, you see the metro station. This is Al Mesilla metro station. The catchment area around 300 meters around that station, you see there is not a lot of coverage area. The next one is when we introduce a feeder bus, like this is a live example of one of our Metrolink buses. You see that increases the catchment area already. When you look at the right picture, that's basically, that would be the catchment area if we would provide a ride sharing solution. We don't have that in that area, that's why it's a hypothetical one. But in the neighboring areas we do have that. That's the Metro Express, which is a ride sharing service, currently with a driver. Currently, unfortunately, also with a diesel-powered vehicle, but we have heard my colleague Ahmed, who mentioned that these vehicles shall become electric very soon as well. So, from these pictures you can see that, yes, a high-capacity transport is required, especially in larger cities, and there's more and more coming. However, without the supporting feeder systems, this will not work. And this is basically where we will come to the opportunities that the autonomous vehicles will also provide us. I'm just having problems here. Okay, so just to wrap up, our current transit ecosystem that we have, well, we have the Doha Metro as the centerpiece. And I can say, well, the Doha Metro is both, it's electric and it is also autonomous. So whoever wants to have an autonomous experience, just go 300 meters to the Qatar National Library station, and there you can board the metro, and it's a driverless system, fully automated, fully autonomous. We have the Metrolink buses. Most of them are already electric, not autonomous yet. We have the Metro Express, the ride sharing, as I mentioned. It's unfortunately not electric yet, but we are working on that, and I'm sure that we're going to see electric vehicles providing that service very, very soon. There's also electric scooters, which are offered by a number of suppliers. So all of that together, that's complemented with, you can of course also walk to our stations, you can use taxis. There is a number of park and ride sites available as well, where people can drive to. Some of them have already been equipped with electric charging stations, so we are also providing an opportunity for people to use their electric car to get to the metro, charge it while they do their business, and come back and have a fully charged car. For in the future, we want to install these electric charging points at a larger scale and from the onset, actually. Now coming to the autonomous vehicles. I mean, I've heard my colleague Iman, she said, yeah, well, I dream in 2030, I can sit in my car and the car does the driving for me. That is a very tempting future, of course, and I fully agree, I would like to have that too, but when I look at it from a transport planning perspective, I have to say, if we just replace all the cars that we have on the road nowadays with electric automated vehicles, we have not won anything, because there will be the same number of vehicles on the road, maybe even more, because getting around by car becomes even more convenient, which basically becomes more attractive, creating more traffic, requiring more roads. So just everyone having an autonomous vehicle will not solve any problem. Yes, there will be the need for private car ownership, because not every trip is just a commute or so, but there must be other solutions. And the other solution is basically when we look at autonomous vehicles that are shared, so shared mobility, which is then fully integrated. I mean, we've heard also my colleagues from MOT who said, well, all of these, the integration is coming here. We heard about Sila, which will integrate all these different offers, which will then create an ecosystem with an availability of the public transport basically on everybody's doorstep, if you roll that out across the city. And it will provide that in a relatively, in a much more environmentally friendly manner. When we think about, when we keep that picture in mind, there has been a very, very interesting study been done in 2015, funded by the OECD. And the researchers, they looked at the city of Lisbon. They took the typical traffic of one day, of a workday, and they applied a radical approach. They said, so, okay, well, what would happen if we remove all private cars and we only leave the metro system that is operating there, and all the other traffic is served by autonomous vehicles? It's a very radical approach, and it's for many reasons not practical, but it was done basically to just check what are the possibilities and what would happen. Yeah. Also, the other assumptions is walking up to 1 kilometer. Also, all the bus network had been disbanded and all replaced by autonomous vehicle trips. So, what are the findings? The findings was that basically the same mobility can be delivered with just 10% of the autonomous vehicles compared to the number of private vehicles that were used, or that are used currently. 10%. The overall volume of the car traffic was slightly increasing. That was because all the bus trips were replaced by ride-sharing trips with smaller vehicles. But even more important, the need for on-street parking wasn't there anymore. So there was not a single parking spot on the street required. And when you look around, not only in Doha, anywhere, any bigger city in the world, the streets are dominated by cars driving and cars parking. So and that leaves only little space for the human beings that actually live in these cities. So if you would apply a radical approach, all the on-street parking would be gone. All that space could be given back to the people of the cities. And also 80% of the off-street parking, so gigantic parking structures and so on, all was not required anymore. I'd like to repeat, I don't foresee that this would happen anywhere on the planet, that this would be implemented in one-to-one. But I think it is a very good thought experiment to see the potential that autonomous shared mobility does provide. And that autonomous mobility becomes electric is basically a no-brainer for many practical reasons. Okay, well, so for the future, what do we foresee? I think it is pretty much in line and more or less a repetition of what Veronica was telling us before about Scylla. I mean, nowadays we have a lot of different offers. Yeah, well, we have taxis, we have the more Salat buses, there is various scooters. We have us as the Metro Link buses. I mean, Metro Link buses are actually now fully integrated already, but the rest you still need different apps, you need different payment mechanisms and so on and so forth. And I think the autonomous vehicles, they will provide basically a very, very good basis for a true mobility as a service being offered from everybody's doorstep, which will then be integrated journey and routing and integrated payment mechanisms for the user. And when I look at it from an operator perspective, it will also be a quite good tool for optimized fleet allocation, reducing vehicle kilometers and therefore increasing efficiency and providing a better environmental impact. That was basically what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much for your attention. I think we have time for a couple of questions, if there are any. Do we have a microphone? Ah, yeah, it's coming.
Thank you for the presentation. I would like just to ask about the metro future plans. As you know, now we have the golden line and the green line and the red line. I was happy to test them all. But for the green line and the gold line, there are a huge gap. When you are in Qatar National Library, as an example, and you want to go to Villaggio, there is no real connection. You have to go from, you'll use the green line till Msherib, then you'll have another 11 stations till reaching Villaggio again. So what are the plans to have this connectivity between the lines that will make really mobility of people easier and more convenient? Thank you.
That's a good question. Thank you very much. As part of the Transport Master Plan for Qatar, there is various extensions planned and recommended to be implemented in the near future, up to, say, 2050. One of the lines in that Transport Master Plan is almost the one that you were just referring to, and that is more or less connecting basically the education city area with the Al-Wab Street corridor. The implementation of these plans is under discussions with the various ministries, stakeholders. I cannot speak on behalf of the ministry here because they are the entity that needs to make the final calls on that. But if you have a look at the public transport, at the Transport Master Plan for Qatar, TMPQ 2050, you will see that there are various plans for expansions. Yes, please.
Thank you for the presentation. Just additional point, if you are using the radical approach, I would say that human is adoptable creature. They will adopt with a new system as long as they are benefiting from that. So just make a deep visibility study, and we wish it will succeed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, yeah, well, the human factor is an important point, and also the interaction of between human and the machine is important.
It is always for the comfortability of the humans. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? You have one over there, yeah.
Thank you very much, Raimund, for your presentation. I just wanted to ask you about vision for international transportation and the plans for Qatar Rail, maybe for GCC network or any kind of vision for international transportation.
As you know, there is the big project of the GCC Rail, which is being investigated for a long time already. Some countries have implemented parts of that network already. There are ongoing discussions, of course. There has been a meeting between on a ministerial level where announcements had been made. We are again following MOT's directives in this regard, and we have started with initial preparatory works for this. Implementation dates I cannot tell you. That would be a question you would need to ask the ministry.
Are we going to enjoy it soon, like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years?
Well, I would say it's not only our kids that would be able to enjoy that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you very much.